Hey, folks, welcome. My name's Robert Ochoa. I'm the Director of Cybersecurity here at A&M. And today I have with me Mr. Chris Hammer, who's a security architect also here at A&M. And we're going to be talking about a subject that is near and dear to both of our hearts, and that is remote connectivity. We constantly get asked questions about how to approach remote connectivity based on a wide variety of use cases using modern cybersecurity stacks in 2024. Chris, how you doing today?
Hey, good morning, Robert. I'm doing great. Appreciate that introduction. So as Robert mentioned, I'm Chris Hammer, cybersecurity architect based in Albuquerque, New Mexico. So appreciate the time today.
Thanks, Chris. So let's jump in and get started. I'm just going to kind of go for the jugular. What are you seeing in the landscape of remote connectivity and how is that changing today?
It's a great question, Robert. As you know, there's been several changes, particularly in the past, I'd say 6 to 8 years, right? With a key driver of that being kind of a return or I guess a migration to hybrid work modes for people within an organization. Whereas, 10, 15 years ago, most people were on-prem, they were sitting in an office, they were talking around the water cooler. They had a physical location they were going to every day for the most part. As we've seen over the past few years here, that's changed quite a bit, right? We have people working from anywhere in the world at this point. They could be in the office, they could be at home, they might be at a Starbucks. So here at A&M, we've deemed this as kind of the cafe model, right? And what we mean by that is a cafe could be any work location from which an end user is accessing corporate resources. And again, that might not be an office, it could be anywhere in the world. So that migration to this hybrid workforce has caused this question of remote connectivity to come up. Traditionally, remote connectivity has been facilitated through VPNs or virtual private networks, which have served us well over the past, decades. VPN technologies have been around for multiple years. However, along with the change of users moving to a hybrid work environment, our workloads have also changed. Again, going back 10, 15 years ago, most of our workloads and the things and the tools that people were using were located within our on-prem data centers. That shifted as well. Now we have cloud-based environments. We have software as a service. We have public clouds. We have private clouds. We have hybrid clouds. So these workloads, along with the users, could also be located anywhere. So VPN, in a traditional sense, tends to struggle with that just a little bit. Just kind of a little bit of background on traditional VPNs, right? They're usually facilitated by an end agent on the device the end user is using, and they're going to connect and create a direct secure tunnel back to that end user's corporate environment. So that, again, worked really well in the past. However, now if you have workloads that may not be on-prem, maybe they're up in the cloud, that tends to drive some inefficiencies. But not only that, that end user in most cases gets full access to the corporate network once that VPN tunnel is established, which introduces additional risk that we may want to consider, right? Because if that endpoint happened to get compromised via that VPN connection, a threat actor might have the ability to start moving laterally through that end user's VPN tunnel into the rest of the corporate environment. So those are some of the challenges that a lot of our clients are asking about. So now introduce a concept known as SSE, or Security Service Edge, which is really kind of the next generation of what I'd call remote connectivity. SSE was designed from the ground up to provide secure connectivity not only for on-prem workloads, but cloud-based workloads and SaaS-based workloads, and really adapt the model of this hybrid workforce, providing that secure connectivity into the workloads regardless of where the end user are. In addition to just providing that connectivity, we're seeing the addition and availability of controls in top of that remote connectivity to include things like DLP, or data loss prevention, CASB, additional granular access to workloads versus the traditional VPN approach of, once you're connected, you have access to everything. So really adopting zero trust concepts and molding that into the SSE suite is really the driving factor for what a lot of people and clients are asking about as it relates to modern remote connectivity solutions.
Chris, that's fantastic. Thank you. I love the insight from someone that's in the field talking to customers every single day. Appreciate it. So I am going to ask this next question. It can be a little politically charged to folks. It's another one of those Pepsi, Coke, Ford, Chevy kind of questions. And I'm just going to point blank say, are VPNs dead? Are they still relevant in today's environment? What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think that's a good question. And, I'm going to go back and I'm going to rely on kind of the foundation of, my background and just overall cybersecurity principles. And ultimately it boils down to risk. What is the risk that you're trying to address? What's the appropriate control? And is that having the impact you would expect on that risk? So is VPN dead? I would say absolutely not. I think there are use cases where VPN makes a lot of sense. For example, maybe you don't want to have that SSE connection into your OT or your operational technology environments, right? Things like IoT come into mind. There are use cases like that where a traditional VPN connection might make a little more sense because you have really good control of that access and who's accessing that tunnel, as well as the capability to, quickly turn that off should something occur. And another key benefit is just the overall maturity and expertise that comes with VPNs. Most of us, including myself, we, cut our chops in our careers, not only designing, building, supporting VPNs, but ultimately shifting them as technologies change to adopt them to work where they were still feasible. So that brings a tremendous amount of expertise and background to help support VPN technologies. Additionally, that leads to some efficiency in how we maintain and support these technologies going forward. So I think there are still some benefits to traditional VPN solutions. Where SSE may hold the advantage is just some of the additional capabilities that you get. Again, aligning to zero trust, right? Granular application policies, modern visibility into those connections, the ability to overlay DLP, CASB, etc., onto this single remote connectivity platform, and then manage it from one console in most cases is a key benefit over SSE has over VPN today.
Well, Chris, very thorough answer. I definitely appreciate it. I couldn't agree more with some of your comments around the maturity of VPN, and especially there's a lot of critical infrastructure out there across public sector and across private sector both that rely on our operational technology that just makes sense to use some of those mature technologies. So definitely appreciate it, Chris. We appreciate your time and insight here as a security professional, and I hope you have a great rest of the day.
Awesome. Appreciate the time. Thank you, Robert.